some people choose to grow from their trauma, while others can get stuck in the hurt and the pain and the fear. And that is the reason why two people can go through the exact same situation, but have totally different reactions, responses. Um, they can grow differently or go different in different ways. So it's important to realize that, you know, our experiences are one thing, but um, going through the experience is one thing, but the trauma can shift our perspective in ways we might not even recognize that it's doing it.
Welcome to the You Are Not Your Trauma podcast, a show that reminds you that you are not alone, your experiences matter, and you are not defined by what you've been through. Each week, you will hear from the host and invited guests who have either personal or professional experience with trauma. They will share their stories and strategies for overcoming past wounds and beginning the journey toward healing and wholeness. Now, here's your host, a gifted speaker, author, coach, and entrepreneur, Harriet M. Harris.
Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of You Are Not Your Trauma, the podcast that brings hope, healing, and inspiration to those who have experienced life's most challenging moments. It is here in this space that we peel back the layers of trauma, not just to expose it, but to understand and overcome it. I'm your host, Harriet M. Harris, and I am so glad that you're here today. I hope that this show is an important part of your healing journey. Now, today, I want to talk about something that hit me recently when I took my kids to see the movie Transformers. Now, I know this is a movie, but stick with me here because there's something deeper to unpack. Okay, so we're watching Transformers, and it is a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. I didn't know much about the storyline, but luckily my son was there to fill me in. Now, as we were watching the movie, I noticed something that really got me thinking about how our personal experiences shape the way we see the world. So if you haven't seen the movie, I'll try not to spoil anything for you because it is definitely worth seeing. So in the movie, we've got Optimus Prime, who from the very beginning is like a risk taker, right? He wants more than life is offering him. And he's not afraid to at least try, despite the trouble that it ends him, that he ends up in. And then there's Megatron, who's more about following protocol, playing it safe, and not rocking the boat. And they're friends. And it's really interesting because Optimus Prime gets Megatron in a couple of situations. And when he thinks Megatron thinks that they're going well, he's really excited, and he's all into the thrill. But when they end up in trouble, he's like, I should have, stuck with the rules. So very interesting. But anyway, um, both of them went through the same situation. Basically, they were manipulated by their leadership. But what I noticed was their responses because they responded in completely different ways. Now, Optimus wanted to fix things and make them better. But then there was Megatron. He was driven by anger and control. And that right there made me think about how this happens in real life, how people can go through the same experiences and come out of it with completely different perspectives. It could be siblings growing up in the same household or coworkers dealing with the same work challenges, but their reactions to whatever happened couldn't be more different. And do you know why? Because we're all built differently. Our past experiences, especially trauma, shape how we react to everything. It's how we process things is going to be influenced by our unique journeys. You can live in the same house with two other siblings and be treated differently, or at least you feel like you're, being treated differently. You can live in the same house and be the only one of your siblings who's bullied at school. You can live in the same house and still have completely different experiences from the people around you. And that's because we're all wired differently. We were all made uniquely. And we each see and feel things in our own way. And it's those individual experiences that shape how we react to the world. What affects one person one way might affect someone else completely differently, even if they grew up under the same roof. And that's something, I don't know about you, but that's actually something that I've heard a lot. Like, how is it that these two people grew up in the same house with the same parents, but he acts this way and she acts completely different, this way. And it's because of the experiences that they've had. Now, I've got a lot more to unpack here, but before we continue, let's take a very quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
Want a chance to win exclusive You Are Not Your Trauma merch? Here's how. Leave a rating and a review on your favorite podcast platform and share your thoughts with us. It helps us reach more listeners who may also be seeking healing and growth. Once you left your feedback, visit feedback.youarenotyourtrauma.com to let us know you've entered by entering your info and the word feedback in the message section. You could be a lucky winner. Now stay tuned for today's inspiring episode, and thank you for being a part of the You Are Not Your Trauma community.
Okay, welcome back. Now, if you're just joining, I'm talking about how our personal experiences shape the world we see, or the way we see the world. Our personal experiences and trauma influence the way we see and react to situations. If you've been through something traumatic, it colors everything. How you interpret people's words, how you handle conflict, how you navigate challenges. It's like having a pair of glasses with a specific tint. And sometimes that tint is fear or anger or distrust. Now back to the movie. In the movie, like I said, they both had bad leadership, and they were gonna fix it, for the community. And Optimus Prime chooses to lead with hope, vision, and this desire to make things better. Like he's like, okay, this has been terrible. We're gonna get what we need back, and then we're gonna go and live this great life. Right? He didn't let that experience that they had with that bad leader define him in a negative way. Even though he had every reason to. He had every reason to be upset or angry or, ticked off or whatever you want to call it, right? Then on the other hand, you got Megatron, who took the road of resentment. He felt betrayed and he acted out of his pain. And I felt like, man, as I'm sitting there watching this movie, I'm like, man, this is so relatable when we think about real life. Because some people choose to grow from their trauma while others can get stuck in the hurt and the pain and the fear. And that is the reason why two people can go through the exact same situation, but have totally different reactions, responses. They can grow differently or go different in different ways. So it's important to realize that, our experiences are one thing, but going through the experience is one thing, but the trauma can shift our perspective in ways we might not even recognize that it's doing it. We may react to situations differently or shut down because something in our past taught us that was necessary to survive. But here's the thing. Understanding that we're built differently can help us to have more compassion for ourselves and for other people. So just because, someone sees the same situation differently doesn't mean that they're wrong. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means that they've got their own lens shaped by their experiences, just as you do. So when we face a situation, especially one that triggers our trauma, we have two choices. We can either let the trauma control our reaction, or we can take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and decide how we want to move forward. It all comes down to a choice, and you're in control of that choice. And listen, I'm not saying it's easy. Trust me. I know it's not. When unresolved trauma is involved, it's hard not to react from a place of fear or hurt or anger. But the outcome is completely different depending on which path you chose. Just like, the Transformers, just like Optimus Prime, he chose that more positive outcome. And I don't want to spill it, but let's just say he benefited from doing so, right? And then you have Megatron, right, over here, who did not benefit from it. Like he was pushed away. Like, I don't want to tell it, because if you hadn't seen it, I don't want to ruin it for you. I hate when people ruin movies. I don't want to ruin it for you, but go watch the movie, and I'd love to know what you think. Even if you have already watched it, I'd love to know your feedback. I'd love to know how if you see that it relates the way the way it related for me. But the thing is, if you respond from a place of, anger or fear, chances are you'll get more of the same in return. But if you choose growth and healing, even when it's hard, there's so much more waiting for you on the other side. Now, we are going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll be right back to wrap up this episode.
Imagine having resources at your fingertips that support you through every step of your healing journey. That's exactly what you'll get with the You Are Not Your Trauma app. Access guided meditations to find your peace, read inspiring stories that resonate with your experiences, and join a community that truly understands. But that's not all. Dive into the Healing Chronicles and participate in community challenges. It's more than an app. It's a companion on your journey of self-discovery and healing. Download the You Are Not Your Trauma app today and join a community where your story matters and your healing journey is honored. Find us on the App Store and Google Play Store. Your journey to healing starts now.
Okay, we are back. I'm so glad you stayed with me here. We are going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. And as we do, I want you to really think about this. We are all built differently, and that is okay. Our past experiences shape the way we see the world, but they don't have to define our future. Every day, we get to choose how we react, how we move forward, and whether we let our trauma hold us back or push us forward towards something greater. So just like Optimus Prime and Megatron, we have a choice in how we respond to life's challenges. So I want to leave you with this. We are all built differently, but we're also built for more. Healing begins when we realize we have the power to change the narrative. So now I want to hear from you. Join the conversation. How has your past shaped the way you see the world and the way you react to it? Share your thoughts on social media with the hashtag YANT, it's personal. And be sure to tag at You Are Not Your Trauma Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Now, to everyone listening, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of You Are Not Your Trauma Podcast. Your presence is a vital part of this collective journey. Now, if you found today's episode helpful, please don't forget to share it with someone who can benefit from the information shared. Also, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the show. Check out the website, www.youarenotyourtrauma.com, to leave feedback, request to be a guest on the show, subscribe to the show, get information on show guests, or get information about advertising on You Are Not Your Trauma Podcast. Connect with You Are Not Your Trauma Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at You Are Not Your Trauma Podcast. And if you have a story to share, please email me at contact@harrietmharris.com. Now, if you don't already have the app, go ahead and download the You Are Not Your Trauma app on Google Play or the Apple App Store. It is a fantastic tool to accompany you on your healing journey. Now, if you need additional resources to aid you in your journey of healing and self-discovery, I encourage you to download the You Are Not Your Trauma resource guide. It is available through the app or by visiting resourceguide.youarenotyourtrauma.com. And one more little bonus is that the You Are Not Your Trauma Healing Journal is now available for pre-order. It is my latest book, and it is a guided journal that helps you to not only work through and understand your trauma a little bit better, but it also helps you to focus on how to move forward from the trauma. So we don't want to continue to stay stuck in it. We want to focus on what life can look like moving forward. And so that journal can be purchased, well, it can be pre-ordered right now at healingjournal.youarenotyourtrauma.com. That's the easiest way to get to it, but really it's going to take you to Amazon to pre-order it. It will have its official release date on November 4th. So go ahead and grab that now so that on November 4th, you will already have your copy. Now, until next time, remember, you are not alone and you are not your trauma. Bye.